Good morning, and a warm welcome to day 2 of the Settlers Online Halloween event live here on Twitch. Yesterday's recording is available both here and now on my YouTube channel. So today I've already sent out the explorers on this morning's search for resources and, more importantly, pumpkins. In case you don't know, pumpkins are the currency of the Halloween events. You collect them by the thousands and you can exchange them for goodies at the in-game merchant. Now, I won't be providing a full in-game commentary today, but I will be making explanations where necessary. Okay, on with the stream. So I've made the resolution of the screen a bit bigger today so you can see more clearly what's going on. And if the background sounds are too loud, just let me know and I can make adjustments. So let's see what's on the calendar for today. This is a freebie, and that's right. That's just a skin. It's kind of rare, but not really valuable, or indeed useful. It's a skin for this thing called Excelsior, or Excelsior. This has a troubled past. It does and doesn't work sometimes. But essentially, you feed it in these crystal shards. Press the button, and you kind of get some rewards. Some are worth having, some aren't. And that's the background noise. Some of my explorers are returning. Essentially, depending on the level you are in the game, you get options to do various things, including get the valuable Mountain Clan campaign goodies, such as Obsidian or Obsidian Horseshoes, things like that. But that's more for when you're into the game. So let's have a look at what else we can do. I have done a few of the standard things that just to get them out of the way, particularly sending the explorers out, because that can be boring. There's quite a lot. But as I see, many of them have come back because I had to send them on a short search this morning because there was a quest for it. Event quests. Here we go. Need 150, done 130. Okay. These are specifically the treasure search short tasks. So let's have a quick. Yeah, I've got a few more still out. I think that's probably enough to get it. So, given the nature of the game, these guys, these explorers, they go out, they search, they bring back pumpkins, and we need to collect thousands and thousands of them. So I need to take this opportunity to send them out again. Unfortunately, as I say, I did send them out earlier. I'll turn that annoying sound effect they do off. This will just take a minute. As you can see, the different types of explorer take different lengths to complete the same type of search. So here I'm just sending out medium treasure searches. And these particular ones are fast. They're going to take about an hour and a half to do it. And for example, this explorer will take just over 2 hours to do exactly the same search. Because what they bring back also depends on the type of explorer they are. Plus, with each explorer in the game, as you will realise, you can open a skill tree for every individual explorer and then apply different types of what we call books, tomes, codex, manuscripts in different quantities to get extra benefits. So, for example, here I've applied 3 manuscripts. This shortens the time for treasure searches by 9%, and this one shortens the time for treasure searches of the long type, just long ones, by another 15%. And here, medium searches are reduced by 15%. So, as you can see, it's almost possible for every single explorer to be unique, but eventually find the skill sets that you prefer that work for you and for how you play the game. And then most of your explorers have that applied to them. But it can differ from explorer type to explorer type. I'll just do a few more and then I'll give it a rest. We'll do something more interesting. Although it has to be said, a lot of this game is of a sort of repetitive daily nature because you are simply trying to harvest resources that, you know, make it easier for you in the game, or that you can trade, or that you can use to manufacture the more desirable higher grade stuff. And during events, it's a criminal waste to have explorers just sat here in the menu, not actually out looking. Particularly as some explorers can take quite a while to complete the task. I mean, these are taking an hour and a half, say 2 hours, but there are other ones that will take 7, 14, and 15 hours to do the same medium search. So you can see how valuable this particular group of explorers is. No, sorry, pretty caught up. These are geologists. They go out and look for different type of minerals, things that we need in manufacture. The simplest stuff starts here in this corner with stone, copper, marble. Iron is very desirable and can be very difficult to get in the early stages of the game, or at least it used to be. And then you've got granite, titanium, saltpeter. They're very desirable, particularly at higher levels. Okay, now one of the things you have to do during Halloween is to keep your cemeteries buffed. And if you saw me yesterday, you'll realise that here we see this present symbol indicates that we've got something to pick up. And it's that werewolf's howl. It's a buff that we use. I'm going to manufacture another one. It takes about 10 minutes. Yep. So we've got some already made. As I say, in Blue Peter. Here's one I made earlier. And as you can see from the text when I mouse over, this one has a buff on it called Stadium Snacks, and it's got 3 hours still to go. So that's fine. Right, so here, this is the inbox. When those explorers you've just seen me send out, when they return, you get a message telling you what they brought back. And if you scroll down the message, and sometimes here's a bold explorer, you can see which type of explorer brought this back. So he's only brought back 2 pumpkins, but this was a short. It's a short search, so the number of pumpkins you bring back is kind of restricted. And he's brought back nothing really, rubbish. That's not too bad as a buff. So you can go through them individually to see, you know, what's coming back. If anything exciting comes back, you can sometimes tell the difference between the type of explorer, not just by the number of pumpkins they're brought back, by the quality of the other goods they bring back. To be honest, when you've got 100 explorers coming back 6 or 7 times a day, you generally speaking end up doing this, collecting them en masse and not really reading them. All the goods are put into your star menu or to your normal storage. There's my star menu. 64 extra pumpkins from that batch. I'm going to put them here in the mayor's house. Now I can see by clicking on, make sure you here, any storehouse, you can see what goods you have. And in particular, here's the event. So currently I've got 3,500 pumpkins. Not bad, but not really enough to get anything decent yet. It is only day 2. Yeah, there's a lot of buffing needs doing as well. So a quick look, see if we've got any trades going. Didn't set up many trades this morning. Oh, that's not bad. We've got one there. So we've offered some what are called chocolate covered arrows. A ridiculous concept, I accept. And we've offered 5 of them, and we've got 49 pumpkins in return, which I'm not surprised actually. It's a good price for them. So I'm going to put them on offer again. This is how we do it. I'll keep the price the same. Normally, I would have a full 10 showing. I've only got 5. So I need to come up with some more offers. Trading is quite important in the game. I mean, there are some players who don't bother at all, which is like fair enough. But I've always traded. I set my island up to produce surplus goods to trade. And can be very good during events when people are looking for extra stuff. They're wanting to get pumpkins, players like me, because we want some of the big stuff available up here in the merchant. This is the event tab. So there's some good stuff available, for pumpkins. But for some players lower down in the game, having a top quality general isn't really that important because they have no real use for them. To be honest, if I was playing this game again from scratch, the first year's worth of events like these, I would be collecting pumpkins like mad. And then I would be selling them. Because if we look in the trade office, you can see pumpkin. I'm just looking what people are offering. You see, basically, this player, who's one of the top players in the game, I mean, he's offering 50,000 gold coins for 50 pumpkins. So that's 1,000 gold coins per pumpkin. Now, for a lot of starting players, 200 or 300 gold coins is a lot. And yet there are simple quests that you can do during this event where you can pick up 10, 20, 50 pumpkins. So that's 50,000 gold coins. I must have been playing this game a couple of years before I ever saw anything like 50,000 gold coins. And if you're prepared to sell some of the buildings that you get, I mean, you can pick 200, 300, 400,000 up. I mean, there are some buildings that I've offered 1.2 million gold coins for. And I know that some of the junior players have got them, but they hang on to them for some reason. I mean, everybody does deals that, they vary. For example, offering a magnificent residence. It's a long time since I've bought or sold one of those, but probably they were worth 25 to 35,000. They want 90 pumpkins in return. So that doesn't strike you as a good deal, given that if you sold 90 pumpkins for cash, you could get 90,000 gold coins, theoretically. But this is one of the weird things. That's nothing against this player. We all do it. We offer products for gold coins or the currency of the event, footballs, pumpkins, whatever. And then, at the same token, we offer buildings for them and we offer cash for them in return, and the two don't join up. I tried to do a spreadsheet once, and there was a big gap. I mean, in real life, they do it with currencies, don't they? It's the margin. It's the difference between the buy and the sell price. If you're buying or selling US dollars or pounds, and in the game, that develops naturally. There's the price that you're willing to pay for pumpkins, and there's the price that you expect to get when you sell them. And it can be difficult to keep on top of. But remember, the pumpkins are largely free, so whatever you get for them is good. It's really driven by the desire for the items that are on offer over here in the merchant. That's what's important. That's what drives the price. For example, here are the capacious warehouses. I've managed to buy them for 350,000. When I wanted some recently, I offered 1.2 million for one, and nobody was interested. Which, in hindsight, is a bit of a mistake now, because in the merchant, I didn't know this, but in the merchant, I discovered yesterday, or during the stream, that on offer is a Longboat Storehouse. And you can get 5 of them for gems, and one of them for free in the game for pumpkins. And they hold 40,000 of each resource, which is, more than that. And the same as this one. Which again, I think I offered 1.6 million for anybody who would sell me one of those, and nobody was interested. And now I can get basically 6 of them in the game. So what's that? 40,000 times 6, 240,000 extra. That should take me close to 6 million capacity. If you run your mouse over, you can see here I've got, it doesn't matter, I've got, 23,973 gold coins, but it's the other figure that's important. That figure's the same when you mouse over everything. That's your total capacity of all your warehouses put together. So that's essentially the island's capacity. And that's currently for me 5.725 million. So I expect to get to 6 million storage. Now, you can store unlimited amounts in your star menu. So, there is a question, is it worth it? But it's just one of the targets I set myself a couple of years ago to get to. Actually, 5 million was the first target. At 6 million is an exceptional total. It's one that I'd like to achieve. Getting 7 would be very difficult because the warehouses take up space, as you can see. So even if I was to upgrade this one, which has 32,000 resources, to the longboat storage that I've just shown you up here, or these dark roofed warehouses, they take 40. So there's only a difference of 8,000. So if I paid out several million gold coins and upgraded all of those to those, or longboats, I'm only going to make 4 times 8. It's only going to be an extra 32,000 capacity. So as I say, making 7 million would be difficult without effectively knocking down a lot of buildings and replacing them with, warehouses. In fact, if I look here, my star menu at my buildings, there, I have 21 storage units there. They hold nearly 20,000 apiece. That's 400,000. But I don't really have anywhere to put them on the island, because if you do that, you've nowhere for your generals to launch from or to land when they've finished an adventure, and they end up going back into the star. like a lot of these. These aren't physically on the island, they just exist here. If you want to use them, you click on it, you've got to find somewhere, you've got to put them down, and then load up your generals. So if you want to do adventures quickly in a row, and there is a game mechanic in the game, a scout post, which means that it's desirable to be able to do that. The last thing you want to do is be launching generals one by one and uploading troops to them and sending off to the adventure. And when they've vacated that space, putting another general in there and doing the same. It takes forever. So you're going to need 20 to 30 spare spaces on your island just for generals to sort of come and go from. So managing the space on your island is one of the big things that you do at all levels. And it's a task that never really ends. Because no sooner do you just get comfortable and then you go up a level or some other building becomes available and you decide that you want to swap out the older buildings you've got for these new ones. And the upgrade takes ages, costs a lot of money. And it's what the game's about. But as I say, it's an ongoing task. Right, so we've done that one. This buff is still running. Oh, 31 minutes, and I'll have to do the same for all my weapons buildings. I've got a lot of mines that are ready to go. I like to build them to level 5 and then apply a buff and set them working. More freebies. Right, I should really do something with a trade office. I haven't really got much in the way of pumpkin deals on the go. Well, there's only one price for pumpkins at work. There's no real point trying to outbid these players. They're top level players. They will match anything I bid for them. So there's very little point. Maybe offer a different price point for somebody who wants to sell, but there's less of them. Sorry, I was distracted though. There's some background noise going on, and I'm just hoping it's not being picked up by the mic. As you can see, my explorers are coming back with treasure again. And enough of them have finished their short treasure searches to complete this task. So it seems that I'm going to have to start doing some adventuring to complete the rest of these rituals. So 25 explorers have come back, which of course means we've got to send them out again. I'm sending them out on medium rather than short searches now. It's just less admin. They come back. They bring more back from each search. But they don't come back as often. They don't have to go through this palaver. As I said on yesterday's stream, it's about time Blue Byte did something about this stupid game mechanic. It's been like this for 9 years. It's utterly ridiculous that you have to faff around like this. It should be able to send them out en masse. I know when the game was first developed, it's like anything. there was only a certain amount of tasks and things to do, so they would spread them out, make them take quite a long time. Or like this, you have to do everything individually, and of course that fills the time. It's busy work, but it makes you feel like you're playing the game. But unfortunately, once you get to the higher levels of the game, you've been playing for a few years, you've got hundreds of these things. It's not busy work anymore. It's actually a chore, and it doesn't make the game more interesting. You do it for the rewards, but I mean, I suppose it's like Pavlov's dog, isn't it? Salivating at the thought of a dinner bell. Or we salivate at the thought of these guys bringing back event rewards like pumpkins because of what we can get. So, in a sense, we earn it, but it's a grind. Like so many games today, particularly online ones, so many of them have a grind. They're just designed to keep you online. Giving them the opportunity to sell more stuff to you. I can remember I've been playing computer games for 40 years. I can certainly remember when games were just games designed to keep you amused and engrossed, and they would not have dreamt of doing something that was a grind, that was boring and repetitive, because you would simply have gone out and spent a couple of quid in another computer game that was fun. So somewhere down the line, something's got really messed up. Really swore then. It really shouldn't be like this. I'm afraid companies like Blue Byte need to get more games players on board. I used to sell computer games for a living, so I know a bit about what I'm talking about, besides playing them. And I have spoken to Blue Byte employees in the past, sales managers in the UK. They certainly seem to know a lot more about what was going on than Blue Byte do today. Okay. Another 15. As you can see from the present symbol or the gifts, we've got another collection to pick up. When I'm not streaming, I would normally set an alarm. I have a little digital alarm that's got 4 alarms on it, and it's quite normal for me to set alarms, repeating alarms every 10 minutes to collect these, because they are quite important. Similarly, I have alarms to remind me when these 2 buildings are unbuffed, when the buffs have run out. So we're nearly at 4,000 pumpkins. Let's see what we could have. Ironically, I've got enough pumpkins for that one, but I'm not allowed to have it, presumably because I've had it in the past. It's not bad, but it's not great anyway. I don't think I'd have wasted 3,000 pumpkins on it. Aha! I can get one of these warehouses. But it's I was going to say it's not a priority, but last night, while I was asleep, the island ran out of space for gold coins. So essentially, I had 150 buildings trying to produce stuff with no room for it. So they didn't, and all the buffs that I put on them as well, the most expensive type, to make them produce more per hour, that was a waste as well. But it will only add 40,000, so that'll fill in a day. So maybe it's not priority. Let me see what else. Oh, that's a worthless piece of crap, isn't it? I've got a mad scientist general. I don't think I've ever used him. Well, both of these are quite good. I did go into some details yesterday about the mummified geologist as being a replacement for the thorough geologist that I use now. But I do like the ghost general. Now I already have, I think, 6 of them. But they're very good because they travel quickly to adventures. So they enable you to get underway quite quickly. It has lots of benefits. Plus, it's got a natural 1-up, which means that the first time it's killed on an adventure, it can come back to life for free. That would certainly be useful for low-level players who can't afford the medipacks. I've got 9 of these chummy geologists. They're quite good. I like these. They are quite slow, but they will bring back the chocolate-covered arrows that you've seen me selling, and the viscous drinking chocolate buff. That's what I've just applied to one of those 2 buildings about 5 minutes ago. Currently, with the buffs that I've got on the island, they take about 6 hours and 43 minutes to complete a cycle. So they are slow, but they're quite good if you send them out just before you go to bed. Searching for granite. It's great. They renew all the granite mines while you're asleep. Otherwise, they always run out. The granite mines don't contain enough granite individually to prevent being mined out during the sort of 8 hours downtime, between going to bed and getting up. And that's for people that do it, that often. Casual players may just log on once a day. The Stone Depot's a new one. So it produces these, what I call buffs. 200 production speed, granite mason, but only for 6 hours. Turn stone, marble and saltpeter into granite. Oh dear. That's going to reduce the value of granite. This one might not be so bad. 200% buff production speed. Oh, 12 hours. Look. Just comparing it to one that I use. Currently this one. Yeah, you see the one that I use now gives me a 300% production boost. Well, that's a bookbinder, sorry. A mistake. Look. I'm doing viscous drinking chocolate. Okay. So that's a 900% plus. Only for 4 hours, but the other one's only for 6. So, yeah, I don't think that's one that's really of interest. For me, anyway. And the Pumpkin Mansion's 160 population plus. Yeah, that's a benefit, but it's on land, it's using up land, and land is scarce. Now, very soon I'll be able to afford this Explorer. It doesn't say much about how long he takes, whether he's a quick one or a slow one. It's more focusing on these extras that he's going to bring back. I mean, that's quite good. Bringing back a premium friendship buff or a premium day buff at 0.1%. It's on a medium. What is it? 0. Oh, right. Yeah, not too sure about that. Most of the time, you're going to be bringing back map fragments, which, to be honest, I pretty much give away anyway when people ask for them. I mean, it's another Explorer, which is a positive, but it doesn't say how long the search takes. I'll just kind of show you what I mean. Right, these are existing Explorers. This one I showed you when I was sending them out on a medium search. Essentially, the Pirate Explorer we were just looking at in the Merchant, it doesn't tell you how long. Now, it could be one of these. And this guy, when he's looking for artifacts, for example, this guy takes 15 hours. You know, these guys, I think they take 3 hours? There's a 5-fold difference between the two. And I don't think the pirate one's worth it. The benefit they'll bring back, like chocolate, even a premium day buff, it's not like they're impossible to get hold of, and you can buy them. There's nothing I'm getting overly excited about. What about these bundles? I haven't really given them a big look. Oh, this one isn't bad. Training grounds are always useful. They speed up the manufacture of troops. Recycling manufactory, that's free coal. Treehouse, that's population. That's a geologist that speeds up and finds bigger deposits of gold. And another explorer, adventurous one. But that general's rubbish. I mean, it's not bad, but I'm not driven by it because I've got enough of the geologists. Don't want any more land-based population centres. I have got so much free coal. I mean, you can always use more free coal in this game, especially if you're a manufacturer like I am, but no. And I have so many troops. Yeah, that's not one that's going to attract me. Generals, here we go. Are these any good? Ghost General, good. Dracula, no. Grim Reaper, no. YGG, yeah. Plus 7 premium days. And a prestigious friend buff. I'm tempted because of the Ghost General, but this is 17,000 and really only want 2 of them. And I can get them separately. That one is 7. That one is 5.8. 13,000. So I'm kind of spending an extra 3,000 pumpkins for a prestigious friend buff and 7 premium days. Sure. I mean, Blue Byte do this very well. They create these bundles and they're full of crap that you don't want, and just enough good stuff to make you, jump for it. What about this one? Well, this one is 19,000. Again, I think it's not bad, but I'm not sure it's something that I need. The Wondrous Residence, everybody uses those, so that's not bad. Depends how much they are in this game, though, separately. If they anyway, yeah, 8,000. Okay. We'll go back here. So that's Halloween, so that's worth 8,000 by itself. So add the remainder of this bundle worth 11,000. Laboratory's not bad. Don't need a treehouse or a haunted mansion or a spooky. No, I mean, prestigious friend buff is always good to have, but I think I've 10 in stock. And premium days, again, good, but I've got stock of them. So I think the answer to this is no. I've got laboratories and they are good to have, but the truth is that I only want them to produce one thing, and that requires platinum ore. And platinum ore is very short in supply in the game. And so my existing laboratories outstrip supply of raw materials anyway. So I'm afraid that's probably a no. Oh, it's very disappointing. So that one. Just again. Right, that was that one. So this one's 30,000 gems, which I don't have anyway. Doesn't look too bad. The oil mill, that's not bad. I think that's about 10,000 normally. Grout factory, well, that is good, yeah. Token mints, no, I don't use them. Yeah, got a lot of those. Gold, don't really use him, don't use him. Don't use him. Yeah, disappointing that one. I mean, the grout factory. Grout factories are always good to have, but don't need any of the rest. This might not be too bad. Nearly 10,000 pumpkins, but Bewitching Explorers are good. They tend to bring back the maximum of stuff. The maximum amount from each search. Don't need the Geologist. Token mint, no. Treehouse, no. But Capacious Warehouse, yes. That's worth about 3,000 gems. I'd be tempted to go for that one. Might be a bit of a waste, but I don't think I'd go for it straight away. I might have missed something on the way through, but I'm not overly excited by any of them. I'm wondering whether or not to go for the 3 Geologists. There's 2, but I can have. Oh, I can have 5 of that one. This guy's not too bad as an explorer. Takes a long time though. But he does find some interesting stuff. Of course, if you've seen it, when they come back, they send a message. But if I get 60, 70 messages, I just clear them. So I don't always appreciate exactly what he brings back. But the Omniseeds, I mean, they essentially stuff like this, really. As you can see, add content to any deposit. So, if you've got a mine that's running out, you can add more to the deposit so it doesn't run out. And just kind of good if you've got a buff on it. You've used a 4-day buff on something, and after 2 days it's about to run out, and therefore the mine will be destroyed, and you will lose the benefit of the remainder of the buff. It seemed to have been, that's quite a high level for me. I think they must have been bringing the stuff back over the past months, and I just haven't realised. So that one's obviously tempting. Oh, we sold something. Right, I'm still here. I've just been looking at how to spend the pumpkins, and as you saw earlier, I'm a little disappointed in what's available. But I omitted to look at one thing, and that's excuse me, that's these black tree seeds, and I can only get one. I'm going to get two of that. Strange. I can get two of that, two of that, two of the red, but only one black seed blue. How strange. Doesn't make sense. Right, I haven't accidentally bought one. So I'm about 500 pumpkins away from being able to get one of these. But the reason I kind of ignored them is that I already have them. Last year, I bought two of each type. There's the other ones are underdeveloped. One of the strange quirks of the game where if you buy a pair of these things, you only have to develop one to get the benefit. So here I developed this up to 5 levels. And because I have two of them, the normal time for production of each of these is halved. So this black vortex, 72 hours normally. Now it's only 36 hours for me to do. Now last year I concentrated, I thought quite rightly, on getting the 10 that were available, which would have been 45,000 pumpkins. And then having got the 10, I developed what I could, but obviously the next step up requires pumpkins, so I knew that it would be a year before I could do anything more with it. So now I do have the pumpkins to take this up to the next level. Trouble is, the next one I'm not that bothered about. It's the one after, Tree Arrow. It's the one that I want. That's 2 more of these to go. So that would be probably 5,000, something like that. More than 5,000 to get. Yeah, 2,500, then 2,750 pumpkins to get those next 2 levels on here. So, what happened last year is that you can see that I developed all of these up to the same level. And then this one was only developed to this level. But that was the one I was interested in. To be honest, when I got these last year, as I say, these are only 5 of them. There's 5 smaller ones somewhere else on the island. I don't remember where the hell I put them now. They're out of the way. They're not harming anybody. I think they're up here. Here we go. These are the same things. But you don't get any benefit by upgrading these. Kind of weird, but you don't. So just to prove that I've actually got those. So, what would be the point in buying these others, you ask? Well, the extra ones I would buy wouldn't have to be developed like this one. They'd be like the ones I just showed you, the little stumpy ones. And the reason you buy them is because it reduces this earning more than one, but here we are, expansion bonus. Every time you buy one, decreases the amount of time it takes to produce. Now the key here is that I've used these to produce grout for a year. And every 20 minutes it gives me 2 grout. Okay. Originally, to get grout, it would take 40 minutes. So by having 2, it now drops it down 20. And then it won't have it again. It's a bit weird. You have to go back to the original figure, divide it by the number of buildings you've got. So if I got a third, that would be 40 minutes divided by 3, which is more like 13 minutes. But then if I got a fourth one, that would divide it down to 10 minutes a cycle. which effectively means, yeah, I would double the output of grout. Grout still remains quite a scarce resource in the game. It's still one that you can trade and sell. There have been attempts that you've seen the grout factories for sale, and there's a grout tribute for sale. Blue Blight have obviously recognised there's a problem with the supply of grout in the game, but instead of encouraging buying and selling of it, instead of hoarding it, they just kind of make it cheaper by giving you lots of options. This is the Black Tree Purple one. It's a bit, I don't know if it's an error, but as I say, when I looked here, went down here, oh, the blue, I can only buy one blue. A bit weird. That's my blue one there. So, I mean, I'm not too worried. It's not like I've invested tons in it. But it strikes me one of the best things I could do with pumpkins this time around, and it may apply to most players, is to buy the apparently 9 extra trees that are available, thus halving the production time, and then also bringing one of these up to speed so that it can produce the 2 items that I can't currently get. So the next level, this one here, is Arcane Crystallization. That would take 3.5 hours normally, but less than an hour with 4 trees. And that will convert granite, beer, and oil seed into crystals. But if I'm looking at this correctly, I need to be careful with this, because obviously I did this last year, I would have researched this last year. I'm just wondering. Okay. Right. That's crystals plural. From what I can see, you get 1 crystal with Arcane Crystallization. So I think it's a crystal shard. What I'm trying to determine is whether you get a whole crystal or a shard. And the reason for the difference is that Blue Blight were never very generous. So when they introduced crystals into the game, they also gave you a way to earn them. But instead of earning whole crystals, they give you something like a 10th. Let me have a look. Here we go. So here you can see that's a crystal shard. And if you use 10 of them, 100 of them, you get 10 crystals. And I've just been looking, and from what I can see, it's the shard you get. So you'll get 1/10 of a crystal. You'll get that. Yes. No, you won't even get that, will you? You need. That's 10 shards from 1 crystal. That's right. So you're getting 1/10 of that, or 1/10 of that 1 shard for the Arcane Crystallization, which means that to make 1 whole crystal, you'll need, well, forget the granite and the beer, because that's not a problem for me. But the oil seed is. I'm currently paying 10,000 gold coins for 1,000 oil seeds. And I'm going to need 1,500 of the equivalent of 15,000 gold coins worth to make 1 crystal. That's a very poor rate of exchange. Even if they speed it up, even if I get the 4 trees and speed it up to under an hour to achieve the 1 shard, I'm still not getting away from the fact it's very, very expensive. It's the sort of the same problem with the same trees, these black trees. Here, this one, black tree blossoms, seemingly quite, desirous. It basically gives you the equivalent of 4 times the output on your epic work yards and lasts for 24 hours. Excuse me. So that's great, but when you actually look at producing one, it actually uses 2,200 oil seeds, which, as I say, is about 22,000 gold coins worth of oil seeds to produce 1 buff. The rest uses water and marble, so that's not a problem. But it's going to take you a long time and a lot of money to produce 1 24-hour buff. And to be honest, my epic yards don't produce anything worthwhile at the moment. I'm just looking now. This is one. It's a wood yard. So if I was change production, the best I can produce is coal. Why would I spend 22,000 producing 4 times as much coal? Another wood yard. This is a farmyard. The best I can produce is horses, flour and bread. None of that's worthwhile. So maybe this is the one they're aiming it at. This is the epic forge. Now, I don't have this switched on very often because I actually produce this quite efficiently without the epic forge. But again, what is there that's worth 4 times production? Possibly platinum, but platinum ore is in very short supply in the game. So, you'd be working this flat out for 24 hours, then turning it off for a week. Bronze swords are almost worthless. Iron swords are similarly almost worthless. And steel swords, I've got about 8 million of them. You could virtually give them away. Steel. I mean, in theory, if I produced enough of the black tree blossoms, if they were cheap enough or oil seed was easy enough to get hold of in quantity or at a cheap price, then I could run the epic forge and demolish several of the individual production buildings that I have to produce all these. But the bottom line is, it's a supposition. What if? Because black tree blossoms will be very expensive to produce because of the cost of the oil seed. So arcane crystallization will similarly be worthless. So where does that bring us? Well, what it really means is, for me, is that I would like to spend my pumpkins on getting more of these trees to reduce the production time of the grout, at the very least, because I do, as you can see, produce the grout in quantity. 58 days worth of this. Oh, and I've got some these titanium horseshoes. Now, they only take titanium, which I produce a lot of anyway, and coal. And that gives me titanium horseshoes, which you use on adventures. Now, as I say, for me, the difficulty is not the cost of the titanium. As you can see, I have 4 million in storage. Or coal. But that it takes 9 hours. And that's 9 hours worth of grout that I can't produce. But if I were to get 2 more of these, that would halve it again, wouldn't it? So originally it's 18 hours. But I've got 2 buildings, so that basically is 2% speed, half the time. So it's 9, so it'd be 4.5 hours. That would be much nicer, because these 5 here, this production by itself, is currently taking 45 hours. But, that could drop down to, 22 hours. It's just a day. If I were able to produce 5 titanium horseshoes in a day, I think you're looking at me not using any other kind. Because I don't do that many adventures. So Yeah, that would be worth doing. And I don't even have to apply more grout to do it. Sorry, pumpkins. I keep saying grout and I'm meaning pumpkins. I already have this ability with all the trees, even this little one that wasn't properly finished off because of lack of pumpkins last time. It can still produce them. The only one that wouldn't be able to would be the purple one. There's got to be a mistake, but sorry, not purple, blue. Maybe this blue one. There's only one extra I can buy. So, oh, blue one. Well, that's not so bad. I'll leave that producing grout. I can get the extra building, but these four would switch their focus from producing something like 75 grout a day. Seems to be what they're doing. It produces 50, right? So it's producing about 150 a day. But if I took four of them, they could each produce 5, and that's 20 in a day, times 1 month, 30 days. So they could produce 600, which would be almost a lifetime of adventures for me. Yeah, may as well do that, I think. We're okay for grout, so may as well line them up. This is the queue for production, and by sliding this, I go to the bottom of the queue, select this, move it to the top, and it will move it to the top of the queue. It doesn't replace the one that's being built, which is now currently this lot of 25 units of grout. So the next two will be that. Yeah, makes sense. The other advantage is it kind of makes life easier because you're only going to be selecting one type of horseshoe for every adventure, really. Gives you 25% movement last 6 hours. I wonder how that compares. There are different types of horseshoes, so here we go. And that's the one I'm talking about producing, which is 25% movement benefit for 6 hours. Bronze one is the one that I tend to default to, particularly on, even if you watch my video on the young woodcutter, you'll see I use bronze there when I actually remember to use it. That's only 15% and only lasts 1 hour. So on the bigger adventures, this is going to be a bonus because it lasts 6 hours. So there are adventures that can take you a couple of hours to complete. So you won't have to apply. You'd have to apply 2 of those, for example, or maybe 3 to get the benefit. Then here we have the Obsidian Horseshoes. Now that's 30% for 8 hours, but that uses the very rare resource of obsidian ore, which I wouldn't want to do really. I'm surprised I've got 96 of them. And then the other one is Platinum Horseshoes, which has been my sort of bonus one to use. As I say, bronze is my go-to horseshoe for bonus speed. Platinum would be the one if I was really wanting to do something special. But black and titanium is better than both of them. It lasts 6 hours. The platinum's pretty good, and it lasts 4 hours. Yeah, I think I can sell these bronze horseshoes. I don't really need them now. I'm not sure how much they're worth, if anything. But yeah, maybe time. I don't know if anybody's selling bronze horseshoes. Not selling anything, are they? There we go. So 100,000 bronze is worth 30. So, just a rough calculation. If 100,000 of those are worth 30 pumpkins, then it took 100,000 of those to make 2,000 bronze horseshoes. It also took a day in the life of my provision house. Even buffed, it takes a day to produce that. Interesting. I say interesting, I mean, it just gives me some sort of criterion to work from. I mean, it's not a lot, is it? 30 pumpkins for all that. I mean, clearly some of the bigger players in the game, I don't mean that in terms of levels, but people like me who produce a lot of stuff, it looks like some of them are just dumping their product onto the market. It might be that some of them are thinking they won't continue playing the game after this event or after Christmas, such as the disappointment with the implementation of the Unity version of the game. That it is possible that some of them are just, as I say, thinking about leaving and dumping. Doesn't help the rest of us who want to stay, but I can certainly understand their motivation. Right. We'll look at trade office. Right, so we sold that. Fair enough. Right, I bought this oil seed earlier. Don't recall telling you. Here we are. This is the oil mill where you use it. Oh, good, it's working at least. This is another building where you can't put a buff on it. You just have to buy more buildings. This is available in one of the bundles for pumpkins or gems in this event, but I have 11 already. So getting a 12th one is probably going to knock just 10 seconds off the build time. It's really not worth it. But anyway. So I can add 15,000. That'll give me an extra 4 days production. Yeah, we'll do that. Looks like the explorers have been busy. They'll come back again and more pumpkins. Well, don't know how many have come back yet, so we'll see. 290. That's quite a lot. Some of my overnight explorers must have returned, not just the short ones that I've been used to. For heaven's sake. Yeah. Till 4. Oh, 4,300. Oh, they're still coming in. Good. Sometimes what I do when they're actually arriving back is I literally send them out as they're coming back in. These are the short ones coming back now. So, send them back out. It is actually worth it if you have the time to send out your explorers on short or medium treasure searches. And the reason is you send them off on the prolonged ones, which is what I always used to do, because I used to think, well, it takes the longest, it's going to be the best. Actually, it isn't. You kind of get a discounted amount of pumpkins or whatever the resource is for the particular event. So, if you were to stay up 24 hours and send out 6 or 7 short searches, which of course you won't do in reality, but if you did that, you would make a lot more pumpkins than if you just send one prolonged search for 24 hours. So, these are the guys that just came in. These are the guys who, if you look, it brings back twice as much loot, which is great, but it always with the highest possible amount of resources. But during this game, that's important because it means they're going to bring back the maximum number of pumpkins or whatever time you send them out. So yeah, sorry, repetitive job has to be done, especially during an event. As I say, it's criminal just leaving these guys sat at home doing nothing. There's some more. Let's have a look. 3. These are from short-term searches. Just 1/6. Yep. So, yeah, out of all of these, there's just 2 that brought back 6, and most have brought back 3, which is kind of what you expect. About 70% of your explorers will return back with a basic amount or pumpkins, and then 30% will bring back an enhanced amount. And that's 80-20 this time, so it's not far off the expected return. Sorry about that. Just trying to adjust the sound levels. The reason I had to do it is the background music you've heard so far today has been the default music that they play during Halloween. But this concert hall building, it does change the music. Now, normally I play with mute on, so I don't notice. But changing the music has a buffing effect. And the one I chose was this one, which means a 700% output boost for my weaponsmiths. It's only lasting, I think, about an hour. Yeah, it lasts an hour. The cooldown period is about 2.5, so I can only have it on 2 or 3 times a day, depending when I'm playing. But it's a definite boost. It's well worth having. I know a lot of people don't bother with the concert hall because originally it was just to do with population, and many of us, don't need any help with that. So good grief, I've got a lot of explorers coming in, which is the good news is these will all be carrying pumpkins. The bad news is they were all on short treasure searches, so they'll only be bringing back a couple each. Nonetheless, it will be worth having. 25 of them so far. That should be worth 50. Not more. $200. So now we can choose, I'm sure, from a bigger palette of products in the merchant. Yeah, so we've still got the mummified geologist, this chummy geologist. I've got several of already. That's the new one. The stone depot that I'm not too bothered about. All them. Aha! But the black trees are available. Now, this is interesting. The only downside to these, and of course there is always a downside to everything in the game. It's all give and take. They take up a complete slot. They're quite big. Although they only look like little trees, each one of the, I think it's 9 that will be available to me, will occupy the space that a whole building could occupy. So I suppose I have to bear that in mind. I guess there will come a point when I just have to start knocking down production buildings again. I already did it with all my hardwood and pinewood production chain. It's just no point in harvesting them and making planks out of them. I have millions in stock, and I'm at such a high level in the game that I rarely have to do any quests that require the production of pinewood or hardwood. Although, obviously, at the start of this one, I did have to, I think it was a pinewood cutter I had to build because I had to click on one. Of all things. I have no idea why, but yeah. But you can build them within 10 minutes, so it's not like it's worth having them hanging around all year just for the odd once-a-year Halloween event. So there's that. Or, then, this is another choice. Bewitching. There's 2 of them available as well. These are the ones I told you, they bring back twice as much loot. They don't really take that long. They're not a quick explorer, but they're certainly not the longest. And they bring back twice as much loot. Now it's tempting. I mean, explorers give you the benefit all year round as well, but particularly during events. Oh, it's very tempting to get one now. Of course, I could get the scared one as well. can't think of a criterion or criteria that helps me decide this. I mean, logically, this is the one to get because it will provide me with more pumpkins during this event. The Scared Explorer will also provide me with more. So it takes 4 times as long to complete the searches. Now it'll bring back 4 times as much treasure. Well, that's okay. But remember, the other explorer brings back twice as much treasure. But also it's the max available. Yeah. And the black tree seeds, and well, they're going to produce 24 hours all the way around. You see, the thing about explorers, they only work when you send them out and they come back. If you take time off, or you log on in the morning and they've still got 3 hours to go, and then you're at work, when they come back, they're going to sit there doing nothing all day till you get back home on an evening and send them out. Or even the next morning. I mean, not everybody plays twice a day. No. I'm going to get this one. Damn it. Really quite wanted to get a tree, but... Now the first thing I do is I'll skill him. Now I already have some. But when I click on them, I can't see how I've skilled them. Purely because they're already out looking. I'm not allowed to. But I do use a code. If you look at the names, that one, asterisk, artifact ×2 LM. These are the bewitching explorers I've already got, and all of them have the same name. What that means is the asterisk means that I don't have to look at them, because when you first start the game, you apply the books and terms and codexes willy-nilly to them. You don't really have any idea what you're doing, and you go from one to another. Well, I learned that it was a pain in the backside having to click on them to find which ones were fully skilled, looking for the ones you needed to work on. So the first thing I did was you apply an asterisk when it's complete. So any of these with an asterisk in front of them, there's no spaces. There's no need to open them and look. There's no spaces for you to apply any codexes or tomes to give them extra skills. Word artifact means that I've selected the options so they can search for artifacts, because I'm at a level now where I don't really need the treasure. I only need to go on treasure searches like I'm doing now during events, because I'm looking for the pumpkins or whatever it is the event is offering. It can be footballs or presents or whatever. Most of the time I'm looking for artifacts because they're the buffs, like Rainbow Snow. So nearly every explorer I've got's got that. So asterisk, artifact, ×2. This gives me an indication of, the level of return. So in this case, it's ×2, but I happen to know it's also the maximum. This is ×2, but it isn't necessarily the maximum amount it'll return on each search. And then LMV stands for long, medium, very long. Okay. When you come to, I'll show you. This is the one we're going to do. This is where I'm going to apply the skills. I'm going to apply these books to these slots. And from the other one, you can tell that I applied for the the benefits of here, L long. 5% off long, so that's the L. That's the M, medium, 5% off medium. And in this case, very long, which is this one, which, as you'll see, is only really possible to do 2 of. There are rules about applying the books and everything to these skill set slots. You have to do so many before you can get onto the next level. And it usually means that by the time we get here, you have a choice between applying 3 here or 2 here and then 1 on this top level, which is for the artifact search. I'll show you what I mean. So I'm going to apply 3 manuscripts there. That will give me shorten the search time for all treasure searches by 9%. And this is the long, the medium. On this level, I'm applying these red books here, the tomes. And now the next thing I want to be is up here, but unfortunately, I can't. You see the text in red, it says it needs 10 books and the level below. So I've got the 9 that I really want, so I've got to waste one. And none of these are really much use to me. Like that one. And then the next one here that I like is this one. Gives you 3% more loot on all treasure searches. So that often doesn't really apply when I'm searching for artifacts. That's meaningless. But at least during events, it's a benefit. And again, before I can move here, I need 15 books in the level below. I've got to waste 2 more. And this one shortened the search time for all searches by 5%, so I want to go for. And this is the V. Remember LMV in the name. Do 2 of them, and then this one for artifact. And that's it, it's fully skilled. Here it is. And before I send it off, I rename it an asterisk because it's fully skilled. Artifact times 2 the max. LMV. That's it. So it's named. Close that, open this. It should be next to its brothers. There we are. Those are the ones that are already out. And now alphabetically it's there. There's a couple over here. So I changed the name. I put max. In fact, I can do that on this one. With the others, I've just forgotten to do it. Because once you've sent them out, you can't rename them. So that's accurate. Now, let's see. These will be back in 245. These will be back in 248. I just clicked off because the timing's out right. Give it a chance to refresh. I would point out for the first a general or an explorer like that, and I wanted to upgrade the skill set. It wasn't that easy. You would, more likely click on it, click on this, and then you'd have maybe one or two or one there. It just so happens that over the last 5 or 6 months, I haven't really been playing the game in terms of acquiring generals and so on and so forth. And rather than just upgrading the skill set of generals that I rarely use, I've held on to the books, and as you can see, I've built up quite a stash. Which means now, whenever I get a new general or explorer, I'm able to just fully upgrade it. But if you play the game, you'll find that you're rarely in that position. You will only occasionally be able to do that. More likely, you'll be applying 3 here, maybe 2 there. So, just then when you'd be disappointed if you play the game and you find out you can't do the same. It's always a bit anticlimactic when you've spent your pumpkins in the merchant. So many choices. You have to pick one. You pick one, and then immediately you wish you'd picked something else. Never mind, our explorer's skilled, and he's underway. Or she's underway. I never know with generals these days. But perhaps the most interesting thing for me I've discovered this morning is the trees. The lack of an extra blue one is a bit concerning. I don't know why that is. But I think my target now has to be these after the getting the extra explorers. I think if that's all I did during this event, it would be a huge benefit for the coming year. And in fact, I may have enough to upgrade at least one of them to be able to produce not just the Arcane Crystallization, which produces that silly crystal shard, but the thing I didn't say was that the 7th level, the one beyond that, which is what you really want to produce, is the Black Tree Arrow, which I know a lot of people use. Now, there are a number of arrows. You see me selling the chocolate arrows. They fetch a good price. Now, the Black Tree Arrow isn't as strong as the chocolate one, or the Rain of Arrows, or the Fire Arrows, whatever, the ones that are in the game. But they have one unique ability, and that is that you can fire an unlimited number of them at a camp. Now, all the other ones, when you're playing adventure, if you sort of like come up against a really tough camp and you want to weaken them, there's a number of arrows that you can use in the game already. The problem is that once you've used one projectile, both like that, you can't use another one on the same camp. So after that, it's down to your general and troops to slog it out, even if you take huge losses. And on some of the bigger adventures later on in the game, in like the Mountain Clan campaign, there are some truly tough camps in there, which means you will lose an awful lot of troops. And indeed, you may even have to sacrifice one of your generals, like Boris, who normally you don't have to. Normally he'll survive almost anything. And so having a buff like this is really quite important. But sometimes you make a mistake. You know, sometimes it doesn't kill as many as you'd hoped, but you're stuck. And I think this is where the Black Tree Arrow really would come in. It's at the higher end of the game when you think to yourself, it could be still a close run thing, and you just fire off another arrow. Now, the other thing is that when this was come up with, a year ago, they set the timing at 36 hours. Now, I've got 2 trees, so for me that would be 18. That's still only sort of like 1 and a bit a day. But if I can add 2 more trees, making 4 in total, then clearly I can produce one of those every 9 hours, and that's much closer to 3 a day. And I think at that point, it's starting to look like worth having. The other benefit is, unlike the Black Tree Blossoms that we discussed earlier, or the Arcane Crystallization, both of which use the expensive oil seed in their production, but this one doesn't. It uses saltpeter, which is kind of expensive, but it only uses 50. And it uses the ornamental thingy that we produce in the game, which I rarely seem to have any use for. And I think I've probably got thousands in stock anyway. Let me just have a look. I'm not even sure what the hell they're called. I know where I produce it, so let's have a look here. You know, that's what we're talking about. Book fittings, right. Yeah, 388,000 in stock. I've no idea why. As you can see, I'm not even producing any at the moment. Right, because it uses titanium ore, which is kind of rare, or difficult to get hold of, or expensive. But in my case, I've already built 388,000 of the book fittings with no real purpose, so I may as well turn them into Black Tree Arrows. So, yeah, that's a positive. The other thing is that they require exotic wood planks, which I appear to have 1.8 million in stock. That's in my star, actually. Here we go. Right. So I've got 4.9 million there as well. So I appear to have a lot of exotic wood planks. Didn't realise I had that many. But yeah, producing black tree arrows is going to be no problem at all. So that's good news. Explorers are coming back again. Right. Let's take a look and see. So we've got 423 pumpkins in stock. That's not a bad start at all towards the next explorer or tree. Or indeed, I suppose. Let me just double check. Right, so the purple tree. There's 2 available. So there's the purple. Yeah, so it's 2,500 to upgrade it. As I say, I want to get to the black tree arrow upgrade, so that'll be like 5,000 in total. But the first step is to get the arcane crystallization. Without doing that, I can't make the jump to the black tree arrow production ability. So yeah, that'd be great. I just need to do that one, and then I can at least start producing them, which would be yes, that's the problem, isn't it? Sorry, I'm just trying to work it out in my head. No, yes, I have to get the. No, yes, I'm sounding like an idiot here. Right, apologies. Just trying to work out the production ability. So if I upgrade this tree 2 levels, I can then produce the black tree arrow. Okay, and the second tree benefits from this one being upgraded, so I don't have to spend 5,000 upgrading the next existing tree that I already have. You see, I've got 2 buildings here, 2 trees. So that means that I'll be able to build there'll be 2 arrows every 36 hours, or 1 every night. Is that right? I just need to check. I'm getting a bit confused here, so I just need to check something. That's a black vortex. 72 hours normally. So if I produce 2 buildings, gives me 2 on the original time. Right, okay. So 4 building would give me 4. Be on the original time because that will be halved. So maybe this wouldn't be as good as I thought. Black tree arrow. 2. So that would be 4 black tree arrows and 36. So 9 hours a piece. Right. Right, just checking. So So I'm just trying to work out now whether my suppositions over the titanium horseshoes were correct. So currently with 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it takes me 1 day, 21 hours to produce 5 of them. Now I'll be able to produce 10 in that time. 1 day, 21 hours. Yeah, that's right. Well, still better than it was. And as I say, I don't do so many adventures that I need to really worry about black and titanium horseshoes. As I say, the only real advantage is that I already have that production facility there, and I have it for all of the trees, even this one. The black vortex is an interesting and a good buff to have, but the problem is that it uses 10 adventure tales within it. So they're the ones that I use here. You use the adventure tales. When I can find it. Here we go. Hidden behind the. See, it's not working at the moment. But you need 40 of them to produce the codex. Yeah, I'm just wondering. Here's the codex. I've got 44 of them now. So it's just in the back of my mind. I'm just sort of thinking, how many more of those do I need? As you saw with the Explorer that I just upgraded, I used 6. 3, a 2 and a 1. That's at the top of the skill tree. So that's about 6, which will apply to most of them. So I think even with a couple of generals and 6 or 7 explorers, I mean, I do actually have enough to cover what I need now. So I don't need to be making or using these adventure tales, which you only get when you complete an adventure. They were a great way to get hold of codices when they were difficult to make. But now, I'll show you. Just select a general that isn't upgraded. This one, no. I can't show you the skill tree until. Oops, can't show the skill tree until place. But I just wanted to show you the number that I've got. I mean, I think I've got about 300 manuscripts and 100. What's it? Tomes. I don't really think I need any more codices. See, I'm building in the Rarity Provision House 24/7 and building manuscripts. And in the bookbinder, I'm using the manuscripts to create tomes. And I can actually use those tomes to create codex or codices. So I don't really need to worry about that, do I? So with the adventure bookbinder, that's what you use to to create these long adventure stories, which are effectively codex. Okay, they take 10 hours. Now, there's some of those book fittings that I didn't think I used. Advanced paper, a few coins, but it's these adventure tiles that are difficult to get hold of. You might have to complete 2 or 3 adventures to get enough just for this one book. But there's another side to this story, no pun intended. And that is, I've got 9 buildings to give me a 900% time discount. So without it, it'll be 90 hours. It'd be, thick end of 4 days to produce one of these instead of 11 hours. If I give up using adventure tiles to make codices, then I can knock down the 9 buildings. I'll still own them, if you understand what I'm getting at. But these are quite big buildings. Look, that's a refinery. Sorry, they look quite similar, but I'm attracted to oil refineries, obviously. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And there's 5 bookbinders on this island. And they take up, you can see about the space, not as much as an advanced toolmaker. More like a concert hall. See the oil mill, slightly smaller than the bookbinder we're talking about. I reckon you could get some pretty big buildings over there. I mean, certainly you could swap them for warehouses, which for me would be more use at the moment. In fact, if I knock them down, I've shown you before, 5 gingerbread storage units. I could go there. That would give me 90,000 storage instantly. They don't cost anything to make. Just wondering where else. A couple more kicking around. The only difficulty is if I knock them down, then I need them. Their positions will be occupied by other buildings, which would then have to be knocked down so I could rebuild them. So it's also a waste of money, no resources. Having, bought them probably for gems, real life money. Right, that's another question to ponder over. Okay, just before we draw this stream to a close, I'm going to make an attempt to make this love tree token mint interaction work. I tried it last week and it failed. It cost me 142 tokens, which people who play the game will know that's a hell of a lot of tokens for the game to screw up on. So I'm going to give it one more go. I understand that the update yesterday addressed some problems with the love tree, so I'm hoping that my problem was one of those corrected. So these token mints should be ready to go. We click that. Click that. Okay, the buff is in operation. I'm hoping that these now yep, they're full. They should give me 22 tokens. 36, I've just used it. I think that's worked. They should become 58. Oh, right. I can't. Oh, right, I see. There's not enough oil. Let me just have a quick look. 104. Here we go. That'll be enough. That should work now. That should become 58 automatically. Yep, working. The love tree problem has been corrected. More 46, yeah. That's more like it. I don't really want to produce more gunpowder. I've got more than I can sell, but I don't want this buff to go to waste. As you can see, it's a pretty damn good one. So what's happening in the trade office? Not much. Hardly anything, in fact. Okay, well, I think it's time for a late breakfast, early lunch. And I don't really want to start an adventure right now because I've got delivery due. I don't want to have to break off from the stream to do that. So what I'll do is I'll probably call it a day till after 2 o'clock, and then I'll probably come back this afternoon and do an adventure, because doing adventures is one way to get pumpkins, but also some of them have got enhanced or double XP available. Just trying to see which ones are currently on offer with extra XP. Right, we've got a few: Dragon's Roost, El Chupacabra, Raid of the Nords, Lost City, One Step Ahead, Snow White, Unknown Regions, People of the Mountain. Now, the thing to note is that when you get pumpkins from the adventure, you don't get pumpkins themselves. What you get are refills for your pumpkin cemeteries. Each of these. See, I've got different amounts left, but essentially they will run out. I'm going to need several hundred refills. It's got like 41 pumpkins, and it's only using one every 5 hours. Kind of think, oh, that's okay. But actually, it's going to be probably 4 or 5 days that you're going to lose out on if you don't get the refills. So, yeah, there's Red Riding Hood, Snow White, Part of the Fairy Tale Adventures. What else have we got? Alibaba and Treasure of Wisdom. I don't have any of those, I don't think. Sinbad and the Sea Snake. Oh, I have a few of those. Clever Little Tailor, Heroic Little Tailor. Never really do those. Attic Explosions. Now, there are some adventures or quests that you've seen on here that require me to do different types. Here we go, event quests. So 4 mini missions, 10 adventures, non-mini missions. That's missions that aren't mini, and cooperative. Although how I'm going to do co-op when you can't do invites, I'm not sure. Actually, I've no idea. So I'll have to come back to that. But what I'm really getting at is that there's a cross section of adventures you need to do to complete these rituals and get all the benefits of completing the rituals, which includes the black tree blue. That explains the missing. I hadn't checked this before. You recall when we were looking at the black trees in the merchant, and I could buy 2 of all of them apart from the blue one, and I was saying maybe that's a mistake. No, it's not. You get it for free, which is nice if you complete all these rituals. But the problem is, what if I can't do the co-ops? How do I complete that? That doesn't make sense. Yes, that's got me worried. Well, worried too strong. I'm confused. I'm sure somebody will point it out to Blue Bite. Okay, I think that's about us done for this morning's stream. I hope you found it fun or informative, and if you did benefit from the video in any way, please consider becoming a follower to this Twitch channel. Twitch channel. Oh dear, I've got a stutter. I didn't know it. If you're watching this on the YouTube catch-up, please do me a favour and give it a like by smashing the thumbs up button, leaving a comment, or becoming a subscriber. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you very, very soon.